This has to be one of the most beautiful river trips on the planet. We're going to travel down the Madeira River, the 7th largest river of the world, to the Maisi River in the state of Amazonas to see the Pirahã.
Everett first made this journey with his young family in 1977.
I was raised in Southern California, and I came from a very blue-collar family. My stepfather worked in a packing shed. My father was a cowboy. My mother was a waitress. I was playing my guitar all the time, flunking all my courses in high school, smoking marijuana every day, convinced I wanted to be a rock star. And then in high school, I met a fellow who had a Brazilian magazine. And I asked him where he got this Brazilian magazine, and he said, well, my parents are missionaries in Brazil. And he had this very cute sister named Karen, and we got to talking a lot about what to do with our lives, and we got romantically involved with one another from the time we were 16, and got engaged at 17, decided we wanted to be missionaries. And when I come back here now, I think a lot of the time that I arrived here originally with my family, and the work and the dreams and the aspirations and the love for these people, the love I felt for God at that time. I was a passionate believer. I was ready to die for my faith and ready to do anything that my faith required of me. I had no idea when I started trying to convert another group of people is an inherently colonialist activity. It's the colonialism of the mind, of beliefs. It's just another form of colonialism.
When Everett first arrived here, he was just 25 years old.
When we landed, the previous missionary flew out with us, and he just stayed for an hour or so and then left, and he taught me 2 phrases which I couldn't repeat. They were just too hard for me then. He said, tell them that you just want to hear Pirahã, and that phrase is, and I didn't remember, I couldn't remember any of that, so I was just here sort of dumbfounded, not knowing what to do. There's a Pirahã. There's our first Pirahã. I'm gonna go downstairs. So walk up it. Yeah, check up yo ao ago. Ayo, I my eyes I bow I say aba I go. Yeah, check kai go aga. Ege hill. No. Ao aga. Okay. Just what about bike go by so go bagai here I che. I tell we see by here che so what go by so go bagai here che. Oh, bike ka be go. They just recognize me. Oh, it's always great to see how excited the Pirahã get when I come here. I feel like a rock star after all sometimes when I come in here. But the feeling is mutual. I feel just as excited to see them as they seem to be to see me.
The 4-day boat ride means even today the Pirahã receive few visitors. This is the first time they have seen a film crew. The Pirahã's clothing is their one concession to modern life. There are no permanent buildings, no cultivation, and they rely almost entirely on nature to meet their needs. Today, the professor is one of only 3 outsiders who can speak Pirahã, the others being his former wife and the missionary he replaced.
I said that for the price of coffee, we just want to keep one child. they thought that was, they said, well, there are a lot more upriver. Take one of those.
Everett and his family lived intermittently here for more than 30 years.
This is all that's left of my house, just a few support posts here and there. I raised my children here for several years. I lived here for 8 years. I had a large Pirahã-style house. My wife almost died here. My daughter almost died here. I had malaria many times here. Our lives were threatened by the Pirahãs here on at least 3 separate occasions. They threatened to kill us all, and I had to sit up all night out in front of the house while my family was locked inside to try to keep them away. They shot arrows at each other. They were really different then, and our relationship has changed over the years.
Today, Dan shares a more harmonious relationship with the Pirahã. This morning, they cook scrambled alligator eggs for him. But sharing this way of life would have been impossible if Everett had not first cracked their language code.
So if you just arrived here among the Pirahã and you didn't speak a word of the language, how would you go about learning the language in the midst of all of this? Well, you start with, since there's no language in common, I just start picking up objects and trying to get the names for those objects, pointing at them. Này, mày cái cầu với, coi mày cái cầu, coi mấy nhiều, mày cái cầu, đấy, 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 mày cái cầu với. And spending day after day doing this, you can see how you can construct the knowledge of the language without any language in common, and eventually I learned Pirahã.
Everett's teacher was Kohoi.
The word for ear is awe, and the word for skin is awe, and the word for foreigner is awe, and the word for hand is awe, and the word for Brazil nut shell is awe, and that's only distinguished by the tones, all of those.
As his fluency grew, Everett began to realize something was missing. The Pirahã have no words for colors, no past or future tense, and incredibly, the Pirahã have no numbers. Research from MIT indicates the Pirahã may be the only culture on Earth without numeracy.
The Pirahã don't have numbers because they don't need them. They survive just fine without them. Somebody asked me once, you mean Pirahã mothers don't know how many children they have? Well, that's exactly what I mean. They don't know how many children they have, but they know all of their children's names and they know all of their children's faces. They don't need to know how many children they have to know who their children are and how they feel about them.
Years of hunting with these people led Everett to another discovery. The Pirahã have an encyclopedic knowledge of their world.
Every Pirahã child woman, and man in the entire culture knows the name of every single species of flora and fauna in their environment. The thousands of different species that they encounter, they not only can give you the name of, they can describe in detail. They can tell you what they eat, they can tell you how they live, they can tell you where they're found.
As Everett immersed himself in their world, he had a profound realization. The Pirahã appear to live entirely in the present.
They're not worried about whether they're going to eat later because they know very well they can just go out on the river and get fish. They let each activity be dictated by their needs of the moment rather than by their worries of the future or their knowledge of the past. They live in the present.
For many, the pursuit of happiness means living free of regret and future worry. It's something the Pirahã seem to have mastered.
When I'm around these people and I'm by myself with them and I talk to them, they're just so relaxed and so laid back and so hard to agitate and get excited or get worried. They just have so much to teach us about taking each day one day at a time.
The contentment Everett witnessed affected him profoundly. He began to question his own deep beliefs.
The dilemma for the Christian missionary is for your message to work, you have to convince them that they're wrong. So they have to be lost before you can convince them that they need to be saved. I eventually realized that the Pirahã are happy already. They don't believe in hell. They don't believe in heaven. So taking the message of God to the Pirahã is like taking ice to the Eskimos.
Các bác quên đi xe, cái bị áo ai ca biểu vậy, ai các bác quên đi xe, ai bữa đi